welcome to WRPB and WRPB Studios. So with me, the young lady next to me is Christine Irizarry.
Irizarry.
Okay, and I had to get that out because you guys know me for a long time and know that I would screw up if I waited any longer. Christine is the professional that I always say you should use, because if you don't use a professional, it's going to cost you 5 times more money-wise and 10 times more aggravation. What's the name of your company, Christine?
Tradition Accounting and Bookkeeping.
Okay, why'd you get into that?
Well, I started it in 2017 and I left corporate because I felt like I was going to value small business. I celebrate small business, so it was only fitting.
But you were in corporate for a while?
Long time, my entire career. Yep.
Okay, and you don't have any gray hair, so you're doing okay.
Oh, well, they're there.
You know, it's interesting because so many people come through here and are entrepreneurs and have come out of the corporate world. Mm-hmm. And they've made so much money for other people. And I hate to say it, and most have been abused.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay? It's about the almighty dollar, and it's not about other businesses. It's not about... It's like that way in chambers. Now, I'm part of Stuart Martin Chamber, and it's so not that way. It's not about greed at all. Mm-hmm. They are wonderful, and I've met some great friends now, and I've done tons of business through there. So you're really moving forward because you've been in both sides of the fence.
Sure.
Okay? Why did you change and decide to go into accounting?
So accounting was one of those things that I realized came very easy for me. But like you said, in corporate, I was making big business, a lot of money. I was using my talents to make somebody else richer. When I saw the landscape and I said, you know what, small business is the one that grows the economy. I'm going to bring my talents to small business. And as an accountant, it's very important for small businesses to have a solid accounting staff.
Right. The thing is, a lot of small businesses can't afford to go to the corporate accountants to take care of their stuff.
This is true.
So you decide to deal with small businesses on a small business level, I guess.
Exactly. So one of the things that I realized is that these small business owners, small mid-sized business owners, were going to large CPA firms and weren't able to spend all of the money that CPA firms command. So I created this model where I'll be the grunt person. I'll be the operational person. I will do all of your daily operational accounting work, bookkeeping work, payroll, sales tax returns, and I'll bundle it up into a nice package, and you can go and pick a CPA and just give them that work that I've produced for you, and they'll just do your returns. And it becomes a more cost-effective model for a business owner.
If I didn't want to go that route and I wanted you to do the return, do you do the returns?
Nope.
Okay. So you stay out of that.
I stay out of that. That's not my specialty. When the tax law changed 2 years ago, pre-COVID, I said it's no longer for me, and that's not where my talent is best suited.
You know, it's interesting because we were talking, and one of the things that you used to specialize, I don't know if you still do, is forensic accounting.
I do. So I became a certified fraud examiner in 2016, and while I was engaging these small businesses, I kept finding bookkeeper fraud. So I learned that small and mid-sized businesses are 80% more likely to be defrauded by their bookkeeper at some instance in their life cycle.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's sad that greed takes over.
Yeah.
Okay? It's bad enough we deal with the greed from the government.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And if you don't skate the line, you can't stay in business. Okay?
For sure.
Okay.
But one of the things I noticed is that a lot of businesses actually take that into account. They understand that they're going to be defrauded, so they just work that into their business model.
You mean like a retail store works in shoplifting?
Exactly.
The cost of doing business?
It cost of doing business.
Which is a terrible way to think, I think. What kind of businesses do you work with?
So I run the gamut. I specialize in construction, property management, but all small, mid-sized businesses, accounting is accounting. 2 + 2 always equals 4.
It's interesting because you brought up construction, and I'm going to guess, and I don't know, it's not my industry, that construction has a ton of fraud going on.
Sure, there's schemes, kickback schemes, payroll schemes, labor schemes. There's a lot of schemes going on in construction fraud.
Are they easy to find?
No, very difficult.
Really? Mm-hmm. Are they like buried behind 8 million other things?
Yeah, but it's also collusion. So you work with a lot of people that you know in the industry, so you're able to like pad contracts and hide it that way.
You know, it's so interesting how greed takes over. Sometimes due to greed and sometimes due to survival, in my opinion. because there's not one year that goes by that you don't, as a business owner, you don't get hit by government with 10 different things. Okay, I buy this desk, and I pay tax for it, and then I get taxed again every year.
This is true, double taxation.
From the county. Okay, and I can depreciate it, but that doesn't change. I already paid tax on it. I have to pay tax again.
Yeah.
And you have to pay tax on everything within your place. So you bought 10 picture frames, and they want to know that you bought 10 I mean, it gets to a point where it's hard to survive, period. And this makes it even harder to survive. I mean, are there a bunch of loopholes that you can find to help a business make it from point A to point B without going out of business because the government is stealing all our money?
Well, apart from the government side of it, one of the things I try and tell business owners is you think you can do it on your own, or you think you can hire someone who doesn't really have a strong skill set to handle accounting or bookkeeping. But in the end, it's only going to hurt you because you're going to end up paying more to the government that maybe you shouldn't have because you don't have that well-qualified person, or you're not really well-versed in how to properly handle accounting. So I try and tell business owners, look, if you work with me, you're going to get the added value of knowing that your financials are correctly stated. You're not going to get taxed more than you should. You're not going to overpay. You're not going to underpay. So there's like you said, a fine line with walking with accounting.
Well, you know, like I said in the beginning, and I say it on all my shows, if you don't use a professional, it's going to cost you 5 times more and 10 times more in aggravation.
Yep, and not even including the fraud aspect of it.
Right. You know, for me, I had 3 studios at one point in time, and it's and I'm a small business, and it was very hard to figure out what goes where, and where we were making money, where we were losing money, where we had to take from A to B, and where I had to take out of my own pocket and put it into the company, and not make it as something that can be taxed on, because it really was just a loan to the business.
Sure.
But over 28 years doing this, I kind of figured out all the ins and outs.
Yeah.
A little easier for me because my wife helps me, and she's astute when it comes to numbers. She understands that 2 and 2 is always going to be 4, unlike me, who 2 and 2 could be 3 or 5, depending on how you work those numbers.
Yeah.
But let's say Mary owns a bagel shop. She calls you, okay, what do you need from her? Like, what are the pieces that you need from her to keep her going forward? Because remember, she's had this bagel shop for 5 years, and now she's first going to hire someone like you.
Yep.
So it's, hey, let's meet. I'll set up an appointment. What should she have with her?
So ideally, you want to have your most recent financials. I want to know that your bank has been reconciled. But more importantly, a lot of times business owners are siphoning the cash out of the business to themselves. And that's usually a lot of the drainers that I'm finding in financial statements as to where is the money, is because you're treating the business like it's your own personal piggy bank. So definitely balance sheet, definitely profit and loss statement, reconciliation, sales tax returns, and just basically understanding gross margins, profits, your contracts, and just some resemblance of knowing where you're going to be in the next 6 months.
Okay, so Mary brings it to you, and you set up, a plan.
We set up a plan.
Okay, how does the plan work? Does she send you stuff every week, every month, every quarter?
So every business is different. It's definitely based on volume. So if you have a large volume of transactions, I want to be able to automate these processes for you. I don't want to spend a ton of time, and you don't want to spend a ton of time getting information to me. So you want to make sure that a lot of these processes are automated. So we're going to figure that out. Can we automate a lot of this information? Are you going to get me things weekly? Can we handle things monthly? How often do you want financials? So it's a very tailored conversation based on the person and the industry.
Does QuickBooks make your life easier?
QuickBooks has made my life easier, but like technology, it has its nuances.
Okay, so from when you started to today, have you seen changes in your industry?
I have. QuickBooks, the only thing that I don't like about QuickBooks is there's still no internal controls. But my industry has changed in that a lot of people became entrepreneurs. A lot of people need the education. A lot of people are going out and getting loans, but these banks are turning them down for the loans because their financials are a mess, because they were handling it on their own. So they can't grow and they can't expand until they get a solid base of financials for their business.
Okay, so that takes us to today. Today, moving forward, what do you see the changes in the industry?
Yeah, definitely fraud.
Okay.
And unfortunately, you have to keep your margins really slim. You have to keep an eye on every dollar that's coming in and every dollar that's going out, because prices are only going to keep increasing.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, even in the real world, do a lot of people that you deal with use their company as their company income as their home income? Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm going to pay my car payment with company money.
And that's okay sometimes. If it's legitimate, it's okay. But sometimes I have to have these hard conversations with business owners to say, look, we need to pull back a little bit and, keep some money in the company. And these are the allowable charges that we can put through the business. Because if you get audited, you're going to have to pay tax and penalties on all of that money.
So you have to be really careful
Very
about
careful.
How, like a base small business, 5 employees and up, is that a base small business?
It depends. Small business could be dollar size, it could be revenue, it could be person.
Interesting. So how much time do you spend on an average, 'cause on a base business, a month or a week to do their accounting? I guess, does it depend on their income and expenses and
Yeah,
payroll?
it could be if they have how many credit cards are connected, how many bank accounts are connected, where are their sources of revenue coming from? Are they taking PayPal, Zelle, Venmo, Cash App? So it really varies because it's transactional. So it's how much time am I really spending to classify all of these transactions?
Does it pay for a small company, to get a business credit card and use that because it's easier to track?
Yeah, absolutely. So you definitely don't want to commingle. That's something I tell my business owners immediately is, even when you're starting out and you say, well, I can't establish credit because I'm new.
Right.
I'll say, well, get a separate credit card then. Don't use your personal card that you've been using for a long time. Just get a separate card and charge all of those to that credit card.
Because it's easy to track.
Very easy.
Okay. We're getting at the top of our time. How do people find you? You have a website?
I do. So you can find me at www.traditionaccounting.com. You can schedule an appointment, a consultation through my website.
Okay. And you have a phone number?
My phone number is 845-659-9179.
Okay. Where are you located? Do you have an office in Tradition or the Tradition area?
West Palm Beach now.
Okay.
But I do travel all over the United States, so I'm not just local to this area.
Well, you have a talent as a forensic accountant that, yes, they're all over the country, but they're not a majority.
Correct.
Okay. And a lot of divorce attorneys hunt for forensic accountants.
This is true.
And I know it because I've had divorce attorneys do here that say, hey, do you know any forensic accountants? Hey, do you know any forensic? I'm like, no. And then they bring them on. Eventually they bring them on, which is really kind of cool. What's the website again?
www.traditionaccounting.com.
Everybody, use a professional. Check Christine out. Go to the website. I'm going to volunteer her. If you have any questions, just ask. I'm sure she'll be thrilled to help you out. She's a community-oriented, small business-oriented business person, just like many of us, okay, who want to help the others to succeed, because there's some sort of internal pleasure we get seeing others succeed.
Absolutely.
With that, Christine, I want to thank you for coming on.
Thank you so much for having me.
Everybody have a great day. Use a professional. We'll be right back.